me, gardening is like a new life. You can watch the plant grow, and it's very therapeutic. It helps to take the kinks out of you. It puts the kink in, and then yet it takes it out.
Your garden is good for meditating because you can go out in your garden. The birds are singing, the bees out there, and it's very good. It really helps. Nature is a great thing.
When you get in the garden to work, you forget everything. You forget about your problems. Watch the plant grow. Watch the cherry on the tree. Watch the apple grow. And how much you can give people and what you're going to do with it. That's what it's all about.
Gardening is something I love. It's time when you have a lot of things on your mind. You can get out in the garden, and you and God can talk about it and do things together.
I love gardening. I like to see things grow. And if you take care of garden, the garden will take care of you.
My garden means being able to work with people. Short ones, tall ones, fat, skinny, and in between. My garden changed me from a country farmer into a good city farmer.
I never would have thought I'd have a garden in New York. I really didn't. It takes a long time to build a garden and a lot of hard work. They say they want to take this garden to make houses here. We are not against houses. I want y'all to understand that. But we need our garden. Everybody in the neighborhood talks about this garden. People come by stopping in the car just to look at this garden. And they make us feel good and asking us questions about it. How you get it, how you start it. That's the truth. I'm telling you something. We feel so proud of our garden.
Forgotten block from one end of the street to the other. It's not just this lot, it was a lot across the street over there. I mean, they have cars all up and down the street. You can't even get in here driving your own car home from work in the afternoon because of the people here. You can't walk down the sidewalk. They got cars on the sidewalk parked everywhere. And it's bad for the neighborhood. Your kids can't play out here because you're afraid of what they might do. You know, they just speed through the block. They don't care how they come in here. They set fires. I remember one morning I came out. This white car here, the guy was backing it up. It was almost to my fence. If I hadn't hollered at him and told him to move, I guess he would have been there. There was already 3 down there, and they set them on fire. That's my garage there. My car is in there. So is my husband's car and my brother's car. I have kids over there. And they want to know why I'm angry? Yeah, I'm very angry. This will break a person because I'm gonna tell you, it almost broke me. I was ready to put my house on the market. If it wasn't for Green Thumb, it'd be worse than it is now. And if we hadn't started, some of the neighborhoods started cutting the weeds down, it'd be about 400 or 500 cars in here because this lot can hold just about that many. After they finish taking the cars away, if they can level off the land, we'll start putting up the fences because that would help keep them out, at least the cars anyway. And then we'll, like when it gets a little warmer, after we get the lot clean, then we'll put up our garden the way we want it, build a barbecue pit, have a place for the kids to play, benches and things for the elderly to sit, play cards if they want to. There'll be some place for the teenagers to come out, you know. It'll be nice. And I can't wait. Believe me.
The garden really touched the child in people. It brings out when the days were good for them, when life was easy and simple. It makes them feel good when they're hurting to remember the good times. It brings back all the memories. And this is what the garden brings out in them. I don't care how drunk they may be, how high they may be. There is that respect that comes out when they're at the gate, when they're in the garden, when they pass the garden. What we do here in the garden, we try to put one of the older ones with the younger one. One, to show them how to do it. Two, to keep them out of trouble. Three, it helps them to learn because hard work is an essential in our society. So the garden grows that way, and as we do these things, you get an art to it, a design. You get creative. Imagination comes out. Attitudes change. There's a whole new redevelopment because of an attitude change. Because now, this is mine. I grew this. I planted this. Hey, don't be messing with my box. Don't be destroying my... I work hard to put that in the ground. The garden has affected the community in attitude. People are more friendly. People are willing to help. And once they see you doing, they want to join in. It doesn't become work anymore. It becomes fun. And that's the whole new development. Once it becomes fun, then here comes the competition. I could do it better than you. You can't do it better than me. And that boosts the ego. And as they boost, as they grow, so does the garden.
Oh, nature's one of the greatest things that ever been. If it wasn't for nature, we would never be here. And nature, even the butterflies out here in the garden and the bees are out here. They getting their pollen for the next winter, and even the ants and et cetera is out here. I really love nature. I love outside places where it's really beautiful air, peace.
Believe me, it was unbelievable how much garbage everybody, all the houses around, they dump anything. This dumping lot here, so filthy in front of the public school. And the kids had to walk in the street. You know, people, when they saw us over here, ladies, you know, chopping trees and everything, that lady is crazy. She must be crazy. And I said, no, I'm going to clean this lot. We got all the people involved. We put the garbage outside. They sent 12 trucks, and we dump it. But they just give me one piece, that piece over there in that rocks. And I say, after I clean all of this, I'm not going to work in one piece. I want the whole thing, because this is a dumping lot. The city isn't utilize this for nothing. We're going to have it for a garden. La berenjena, los repollos allá, y solamente tu clase de tomate. Chacha. Sometimes the people comes around and they say, how did you start it? Well, it's very easily. We organize the group. You don't have to spend a penny because I get the connection where you can get everything free. So where? Oh, Green Thumb. And I believe I have been telling the people that if they organize the group, I'm willing to help them 100% because I want to see a community, clean community, a better community. And besides that, the people that live in there, they are poor people. They plant their own vegetables and they save money. So it's very important. To me, it's very important. Okay, you follow me. One of the girls here, or the boys, as soon as they get that, you pull it aside, okay? You rake it aside, and you put it right there. Can I go inside and get the beans? Yeah. We found out that if we're gonna plant it, I soak it in the day before, and you see, the skin softened. And after maybe 8 days, start sprouting out. What do you do with the crop?
What? Take it out.
Wash it.
Sell it or eat it.
Uh-huh. That's why you planted. You have to eat. Like we have ripened tomatoes, peppers, squash all ready to eat. Then you bring it home, and it is something that that you do it yourself. You don't have to go to the market and buy it.
We have peas, we have beans, we have cucumbers, we have corn, we have okras, we have turnip green, we have mustard green. Then we have, on the fruits, we have apples, peaches, cherries, plums, pears, and a lot of grapes, plenty of grapes.
Bumblebees and honeybees nectaring spring blossoms of autumn olive, all round gardeners seeding and planting.
This garden is a miracle, what happened. From nothing, just that we can grow gourds, we can grow flowers. People, to me, it's amazing. People walk by the street and they just stop. These are toughs. These are people that at nighttime I would want to be on the other side of the street. And they just look at me and they say, hey man, thanks, you're doing a great job. And I didn't ask them to say that. I mean, old ladies stop all the time and they say, oh, the flowers are so beautiful. I expect it from them, but just that these guys in leather jackets stop and say, it means something to them. The garden really means something to people here.
I was born up a southern girl, and that's why we made this place like this. When I was born in the city, and my hometown is just like this. My mother's house is just like this. My husband's house is just like this, down south, North Carolina. My husband and I, and some of the teachers at school, they come here. They bring the kids from school, they bring them here. And that's great. And I like that, by they working in the garden, teaching them, showing them the way that I came up.
I see it in the kids that come here, our young kids. You know, out on the street, you know, when they're playing out on the street, I could see their hostility. I see it, and it makes me sad because I know where that hostility is coming from. It's not children that are real, they're not born that way, you know. Something has made them that way. When I open up the gates, I open up the gates to a heaven for them. A little bit of happy, a little bit of country, a little bit of heaven.
There is all kinds of nonsense going on. You know, you go out in the street, there is a lot of traffic, a lot of pollution, a lot of people that are deranged, and a lot of nice people too. But here you have the opportunity to be yourself and not to be bothered by a lot of things that usually bother you. You know, and we live busy lives and we deal with the subways and the trains and the buses and tons of people.
A lot of people out there, when you go out on the street, it's me, 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 me. And there's people on the street, people lose their sense of community. And I think here we regain it once again. And it has a ripple effect throughout all our lives, I think, in our jobs, in our families. It makes us happier people, I think. It makes me happier.
You know, you can see the immediate change when they walk into a garden. You know, people get very excited. The way I see it is something very personal. It's a need of people as individuals to be in contact with nature. You know, we live in these boxes. You know, people will think of New York City of these buildings, high rises, you know, tons of bricks. And we have small apartments. We don't have the backyard. Very few people are lucky enough to have the backyards or to have the house in the country. And this is a great opportunity for us to do a little bit of gardening, to be in contact with nature. You go outside that gate and it's a completely different environment. You know, once you're here and you hear the birds, you see the butterflies, you smell the roses, you see the produce, the eggplants. It's a completely different environment.
In Puerto Rico, it's a little country. I remember I have a little, humilde casa, que you only go into the window and you put your hand and you can have the grapefruit, the guayaba, I don't know how you say again, guayaba in English, but, and in the morning the cucuruco wake you up, and that's beautiful. The mother nature, the pigeon, I love that. La mariposa, the butterflies, and the smell to the flower, the jasmine, the gardenias. So it's beautiful. You open the window and you feel like a paradise. So when we come into New York, this is all paradise. A little garden. This is all paradise for us, the most beautiful thing in the world.
I'm scared on this block. Why? Because like I've been here for 26 years, and seeing that last 2 or 3 years have been the worst out of the 26. It was one night, and I was in the house, and somebody was shooting at somebody else, and a bullet came through my window. A whole lot of stuff been going on, like I said, like a lot of dope dealing. People come from other neighborhoods and trying to start fights and things. That building been burnt down now since the last about 9 years. It makes me feel terrible. Yes, it makes me very angry, because like a lot of times we be out here working, you see people come with wheelbarrows, trucks, and whatever, just dump in there. And it don't make no sense. I'm from North Carolina, and they grow like everything that I grow here. Like I tell them, all I can do everything they can do, but raise me some pigs and chicken. So this way, I can do everything they can do, you know.
My father taught me to garden. What I do with the garden mostly is come and water it and work a lot. And sometimes he asks me to put up the weed, I put up some weeds. Then I just wait until he tells me to do something else. My name is Shahi, and I grow sunflower seeds, zinnias, tomatoes, and collards, and cotton. And that's all I got in the garden. Oh, and marigolds. And lettuce.
These flowers here, these are called cosmos. Can you say that? cosmos. And everybody works in this garden. I mean, I drag in people walking by, I drag school groups come in, teachers, elderly people, little teeny kids. We have a new daycare center garden in the back where little kids are gonna garden. So all ages, all sizes, colors, religions, you know, it's pretty mixed. The children from working in here, and even from passing by here, from having it here, even if they don't work in it, gives them a sense of identity and I think ownership. They feel they own this garden. This is their garden, and that's the way it should be also. And that in itself gives them a sense of pride, and pride gives one power. So it really does a lot for their souls and their spirits are all living in this garden.
The garden is something to do to keep you out of trouble and out of violence and everything else. So if you ain't had the garden, most of us would be in jail by now.
I realized that my kids couldn't dig, they didn't know what plants were, and my kids are also physically violent. When we were in the garden, they couldn't be violent in the garden because they had to be careful in the garden. Something died in the garden, we had to plant it again, so they started to learn to respect life. Big part of my kids, what they don't have at home and what they don't learn is respect for life. And a part of my job in getting them into the world of work was to teach them to respect life in all different ways. And part of it was the garden and the earth and the environment. So that meant picking up garbage, that meant taking care of the garden, that meant growing things, and that meant replacing things when things were stolen from the garden. So these kids were actually learning respect in the garden. My job in PS4 in the New York City Board of Ed is to get job experiences for my kids who are severely emotionally challenged, so that by the time they reach 11 years old, they would have all different kind of career choices to make instead of going into the world of crime, drugs, where most of our kids end up.
It's still growing, huh?
When I see other vacant lots in the neighborhood, my imagination starts working, and I try to make the transformation, seeing flowers and vegetables and people walking around working in the garden. And sometimes it works. Well, in my mind, it works. When I'm in the garden working, I get a chance to see a lot of things going on in the neighborhood that brings me discontent, because I look at the vacant buildings, I see the children following in the footsteps of models that aren't any good for them, and it irks me. It makes me feel very sad. Then I get deeply involved in what I'm doing, you know, and that relieves some of the tension, because the garden must mean a lot to me, because if you can live in a community for as long as I've lived in this one and still have the willpower to continue gardening or working with the children, you must love what you're doing. It must mean something to you. Green Thumb is wonderful because they give you sort of an incentive by allowing you to use these vacant lots as a garden. If you want to be creative, you know, they give you all the material, and it's up to you to use your own imagination to beautify it. I call them my faithful because anytime I call them, they're ready to do whatever I want done, you know? They'll come dig or they'll come help me take out the weeds. And then I get angry with them sometime and I yell at them and I want to break their necks. But then I call them my children right on. I keep right on fighting with them because you know, it's all about them to me, you know.
I like working in the garden because it helps with the dirt. It helps
other people in the block, because some people
who low on food, when they need something to eat, just give them something out the garden, and they can cook that. When they need something, we give them a hand. We give them some tomatoes or cabbage or some collard greens or some corn on the cob so they can have something to eat for that night until they can get some money to buy them some food in their house. We grow flowers so we can give them to our mothers. They can put them in a vase and we give them to our mothers. They say thank you and they give you a hug.
I have to give credit to Ms. Emma Dunn. Without her, there would be no Herkimer Street Garden Club. Mr. Dunn is a great help also. We went to the garden so much. If Miss Dunn called my name, he would start getting the tools ready.
Most of us have problems. And when you come here, you can talk about whatever is ailing you. Everybody has something different. And 2 years ago, her husband, or 3 years ago, her husband and I, we used to sit and talk. Then he got sick and God called him home. It leaves me still sitting on the stool, all by myself. Now my husband is sick, the same thing. And I can come and I get the same pleasure as I did talking to him. And when I sit on the stool and the stool moved this way, I said, Mr. Solomon, leave my stool alone. They think I'm crazy, but...
No, I understand that.
But it's really a joy.
Because a lady came by the other day and she said, I must tell you, you all must be doing something right because your garden looks so pretty and green and it's not dry. She said, you guys must be doing this with love. I said, it's a lot of love out here.
It really is a lot of love out here. That I must say. And we have been here for 10 years. So that's a long time to keep a bunch of women together. We had a couple of men, but they died, but so God sent us another one, but we're still going. And being the age that we are no babies anymore. Being our age this way, we can say, thank God, God give us the strength. That's right. To do it. Their sorrow is our sorrow, and my sorrow is theirs. We share. And it's a lot of love. I can't say every day it's the same thing, but it's a lot of love. Because, first of all, I don't care who is together. Sisters and brothers, they fight. So when they start fighting, I close the gate and I go home. So when I come back, everybody's in love.
I think God is in this garden because if he wasn't, I wouldn't be out here. I think he protects this garden. Sometimes I forget about the city. Sometimes I can't forget about it. Yes, I'm happy in this garden because if it wasn't for this garden, I don't know where I would be today.